Hi, West Valley, an impossible shooting just occurred. Drive to the pier in a silver Fiat, subsecurity, male, black, 35 years, 23, shirt, camouflage pants, manholes from Monarch Commons, code 3, incident 313, 1091.
Clean is code 4, Roscoe, Brimfield, wrong suspect. Christian, go further, please. 3 is 1083, responding Cathedral, West Valley. Stripe.
1099 shows back in 83.
1099, Roger.
1099 will be responding from Valerio and Lindley.
Hi, is 1099, responding to 3 from Valeria and Lindley to Drive.
When people first heard shots fired at Chris Brown's house, the headline alone was enough to grab attention. It sounds serious, dramatic, and connected to a major celebrity. But when you really break down what happened, the reality is a lot more grounded, and honestly, a lot more common than people might think. This incident didn't start as some targeted attack on a superstar. It started the way a lot of real-life situations do, through a personal dispute that escalated out of control. According to police, a man and a woman got into an argument outside the property in Tarzana. What might have been a simple disagreement quickly turned physical when the situation escalated. At some point, the woman allegedly ran over the man's foot with her car. That's the kind of moment where emotions spike, judgment disappears, and people make decisions they can't take back. That's when the suspect reportedly pulled out a CO2-style handgun and fired at the vehicle. Now, that detail matters, because when people hear shooting, they immediately imagine the worst: high-powered firearms, life-threatening chaos, and a major criminal event. But in this case, the weapon was an air-powered gun, which is still dangerous and still illegal to use in that way. But it's not the same as what people typically picture when they hear shots fired. Police responded quickly, and the suspect was taken into custody on the spot. No long standoff, no major manhunt, no involvement from Chris Brown himself. And that's where things get interesting, not from a crime standpoint, but from a media and perception standpoint, because even though this situation had nothing to do with Chris Brown personally, his name became the headline. Not because he was involved, not because he caused it, but simply because it happened near his house. That's how narratives are shaped. When a major celebrity is attached to a location, anything that happens in that area can instantly become tied to them in the public eye. The wording shifts from dispute outside a home to shooting at Chris Brown's house. And even if the details come out later, the headline is what people remember. That's something important to understand, especially in today's media environment. Now let's talk about the bigger takeaway, because this situation highlights something real. Safety doesn't care who you are. Whether you're a regular person or a global superstar, safety is always something you have to take seriously. Situations like this don't check your status before they happen. Arguments don't care about your net worth. Conflict doesn't care about your fame. And being in the wrong place at the wrong time can happen to anybody. In this case, it happened outside a celebrity's home, but the situation itself, that could have happened in any neighborhood across the country. And that's the part people sometimes overlook. Escalation is the real danger. This entire situation started with a disagreement. Then it turned physical. Then it turned into a weapon being used. That's a progression we've seen over and over again in real life. One bad decision leads to another, and suddenly the situation is way bigger than it ever needed to be. Media versus reality. And finally, there's the difference between what actually happened and how it's presented. Reality, a dispute between two individuals, a non-lethal weapon used, suspect arrested quickly, no celebrity involvement. Headline version: shots fired at Chris Brown's house. Two completely different emotional reactions from the same situation. At the end of the day, this wasn't a story about Chris Brown. It was a story about how quickly situations can escalate and how quickly narratives can be shaped. It's a reminder that stay aware of your surroundings, avoid letting emotions take control in heated moments, and don't always take headlines at face value. Because sometimes the biggest story isn't what actually happened. It's how it gets told.